why I decided to become a realtor in my 50s. My background is an architect. For years, people would reach out to me, and when they were looking to buy a house, they would ask me to come along with them, and I would often go with them to see the houses. And typically there'd be a realtor with us as well. And they'd ask my opinion about the quality of construction, if there are problems of the house, are there areas, water under the crawl space, things like that. Would this work well for them as a home for their family? Was it a good location, things like that. So I did a lot of work with them, just going with them to visit houses. And invariably we'd have a realtor with us they were always very polite, but often, when I would ask them questions about what they would know about the house as far as construction, it was really clear that many times they were reluctant to do anything that might harm the sale, so they wouldn't give opinions about the quality of the construction. In many ways, it felt like they were really useful for opening the doors, but I would often feel frustrated because they wouldn't understand things like the way things were put together, or if I would ask if there was water in the crawl space, they wouldn't know that, so I myself would bring some boots or some change of clothes and climb under the crawl space and take a look and come out and tell the client, my friend, hey, this house has got water underneath it. We don't even need to waste time with this one if this is something you want to come with. Why would we spend hours finding a contractor, writing a contract up, and invariably the agents were like, oh wow, I didn't realize that. Like, it just was frustrating because I felt like they didn't take enough responsibility for what was happening in that process, particularly for the amount of money they were earning. And so I myself worked with agents over the years, and invariably I would feel like I would try to make it really clear what we were looking for, and they would put me in their car and drive around to neighborhoods that didn't at all fit what I was looking at. For example, I always liked to buy houses that were fixer-uppers. As a former architect, I liked kind of some of the houses from the 50s and 60s. And so I would say, yeah, I'm looking for a kind of fixer-upper, maybe downtown, maybe something, a little older that my wife and I could work on together. And so they'd put us in a car. Next thing I know, I'm driving to new subdivisions where there's houses that have been built recently, or there's lots for sale. And, the agent might share, oh, well, my husband actually is the owner of some of these lots. So it felt like really disappointing that they weren't listening to us. And I'd waste, sometimes 2 or 3 hours trying to help it make really clear, like, this isn't what we're looking for. You're not listening to what I'm doing here. We're not interested in what our interests are. And so over time, I began to realize, my experience has been that a lot of the agents have not done a good job of representing the clients and listening to clients. And so I always felt like, wow, I feel like there's a need here that I would at some point in my life would love to kind of move into this space and really help folks that I had been doing unofficially in an unpaid manner to find houses and to move them along. And so I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to become a realtor, was to actually be able to legally help folks do that and help them find the house that really does fit their needs. One of the things we work hard on in architecture school is really helping understand, putting together a design and really what the space needs are for a real family, and being realistic about that. And that's one of the main things that a lot of people that are considering buying a house are worried about is, will I get the right house? Is it going to be one that's going to be suitable for my family for the future? Is it in a good location? Is the price right? What's the condition like? Is this going to be a lot of work? And those are the kinds of things that I think my responsibility as an agent is really to help people look at those things, sometimes offer an opinion with the right amount of caveats. Sometimes we need an expert opinion. I definitely don't cross the lines, but I feel like it's the kind of thing that an agent should do, is really treat it like they're buying a home for themselves or for a loved one, not just a client, and definitely not just chasing the sale. And that's the other thing too, is that as I tell people, I'm not in the business of selling houses. I'm in the business of solving problems related to houses. And so sometimes for people, the best thing for them to do is to stay on the house they have, stay in there, maybe doing a renovation if they're just needing a little bit extra space, maybe an addition. It could be that, that's the best solution for them. And it could be in our conversations when I better understand out why that they actually want to why they're considering buying another house. Well, maybe it is a good decision to do that. But, I don't go in with the assumption that you tell me you want to sell a house and I'm like, great, let's go look, which is what so many real estate agents are sort of looking for. They feel like they're in the sales business, and I feel like I'm more in the problem-solving business. And so that's the real reasons I wanted to do that. I find it really rewarding to work with people and to get to know them well. People will say that one of the things they don't like about real estate is it's scary. It's not something people do a lot. People don't typically buy houses all the time like we buy groceries. And so it can be really undaunting. And so what I try to do is really spend time with you and with the people that that do work with me to get to know you. And so it feels more like you're shopping with friends, which we all do enjoy doing. You've got the friends you like running around with, and they know your taste, and they know your style, and they know those colors that don't quite fit you. And an agent should do the same thing. They should say things like, well, is this house really going to be useful for you in the near future? When you've got kids graduating next year, do you really need these extra bedrooms, or is this something that maybe you can get by with a little bit smaller space for the next few years? And that's the kind of thing I think I bring to that relationship as a realtor here in Central Kentucky. And so, the other thing I want to talk about now, while I've got a quick moment, is this channel. If you're watching, I appreciate you staying here this long. One of the things I'm trying to do with this channel is create a place to have a conversation and really educate the public about buying homes. My experience has been in a lot of financial services, whether it's investing, whether it's the real estate space, anything having to do with money, there are a lot of actors who it's to their benefit to have customers, clients, people like yourself that are doing maybe these things, investing for the first time, buying an investment property, your own home for the first time. Your lack of knowledge is really an opportunity for them to maximize their end of that deal, meaning they're not necessarily motivated to give you the best rates or to help you find the right home. They might be needing to pay car bills. They may have expenses coming up, and so their motivation is primarily about selling something rather than solving your problem. And so I think that's where I felt like what I want to come in is make a small sort of business. I'm a one-person show. Everything that you communicate with will be with me directly, and get to know a few clients at a time. I don't have time to take a lot. I usually work with just a few folks at a time, but really help you get to the best outcome for your needs. What are the problems that you need to solve? Is it refinancing? Is it helping find someone to paint the living room or repair some damage to your landscape? That's kind of what I really enjoy doing. And so I think the purpose of this channel is to give a space for me to share content that I hope will be useful for you, whether you're a home buyer, whether you are trying to sell a home, or it could just be you've got repair projects that have been sitting around the house that you or someone else perhaps have not gotten around to. And so it's been, there's a pile of tools and some extra boards and a saw that have been on the floor for the past 11 months. And it's now time to get that thing ready and get it wrapped up. So that's the kind of space I'm trying to create here, the community I'm trying to do here on this channel. So if you've got any questions or comments, I would love for you to write something in down below. Again, my idea is to respond to folks and get back to you in a timely manner and, have a conversation and really provide the content for you that's useful. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.